to the ego-driven part of this episode now. Maybe a little chance to brag. How good at you were wrestling? Were you at wrestling? Tell us your
Um,
stats.
I don't know. It always makes me depressed because I I mean I was decently good. I was decently good, but I could have been way better. Like after graduating and now going back and coaching, like one of the things that still bothers me is that um like my last year was the last year that my coach was there, so he retired after that. And the new coaching staff that came in had like all these national champion coaches. Like they had Division 2 national championships,
Oh wow.
and they all came in and wrestled with the kids and just made everybody better. And that, I mean, coming back, it really kind of bummed me out because I'm like, man, if I would have had this, I would have been a lot better. It wasn't necessarily that the coaches that I had were bad. It was more so I didn't feel like I had somebody to push me, like in the practice room, like a partner to push me. Like I had all I did was the only one that could really somewhat push me was the heavyweight, but he was 2 years younger than me, and he was also like maxed out heavyweight. Like he had to cut weight to make heavyweight. So it's
Oh
like
wow. That's a big boy.
there's only so much I can do of like my actual game on him because just I mean it's just so hard to move him, and it's like well 220 pounder, yeah, they're harder to move, but at the same time, you still have to be able to move and you still need to be able to do your moves on them. So it's like I didn't get a whole lot of practice doing moves that were better for my weight class. And so that's always a frustrating thing for me. It's like thinking back and thinking how much better I could have been if I just would have had somebody there to push me harder than I pushed myself.
Right.
Um, but having said that, that was pretty darn good. No, I mean, I I finally made varsity my junior year, and
Mm.
then made went to state both years. Last year, I mean, I kind of tanked it at state. Like should have placed pretty high, but ended up losing in the heartbreak round with 10 seconds left. Yeah, so it was kind of crazy. 10 seconds left. I'm down
Wow. I'm
like
surprised
that.
you remember this whole story. All right. Say it
I'm
again.
down. I'm down by like 1 point or something. So I have to take him down. And so I me as a wrestler in high school, it's different now, but in high school, I never really shot that much. Like I was very much a defensive wrestler.
Mm-hmm.
And but I could have been, but again, that comes back to practice room, but whatever. So I'm down 10 seconds left. I have to get a takedown. And so I'm like, all right, screw it. Let's take him down. So I shoot in. It was like the easiest thing ever. I shoot in, take him down like it's nothing. And then instead of covering his ankle or grabbing his ankle when I came around, I went around his waist and then he just rolled me right. He hooked my arm and just rolled me right through
Yep.
and lost it right there. Bummer. Just a bummer.
And
Like,
that.
especially in the heartbreak round, like, and
Mm-hmm.
we always had a ton of fans. And so, when I took him down, everybody's just going crazy. And then
Were
boom,
you
bull rolls me through, and it's just like, oh my gosh.
were you the underdog?
I still haven't rewatched the match.
You still haven't
No.
rewatched the match. It's been like almost a decade,
I
Grady.
can't handle it, okay? Every time I go to state wrestling, it just depresses me because I just think about that.
That's too funny. Were you the underdog?
um, I don't think so.
Hmm.
But he ended up getting third. So if I'm gonna lose to somebody, it's gonna be that guy. And then the next year, I think he won state. But yeah, I still it doesn't make me feel any better. Like still should have beat him. He shouldn't have placed that year. But
And that was the last match you ever wrestled officially.
yeah, it is.
That's such a. I feel like my coaches didn't stress that enough, but I think that's almost an important lesson to like bring up front to athletes. Like 99% of people, their last game, their last match is a loss.
Yeah.
Like how awful sounding is that?
And then you have to think about that for the rest of your life.
Yep. Yep. I remember my last match. So I asked you about if you had a rival. I had a rival my senior
Oh
year.
yeah.
Giovanni or something like that was his name. I don't know. He wasn't even like against my rival high school, but he was around the area. And I wrestled him in total like 3 or 4 times in the same year. And it got closer and closer every single time. But and the way it worked in Illinois was it went regional, sectional, state. And you needed third in regionals, you needed fourth in sectionals to get to, third in regionals to get to sectionals, fourth in sectionals to get to state. And my classification, I think, was we had the biggest population. I think it was like single A, double A, triple A, if I remember correctly. And so biggest population meaning more schools, more talent, harder competition. Triple A was always harder than double A and harder than single A. So I finally meet this guy in the third place match, and you need third to go on. And this is my third, fourth time wrestling this guy in the same year, and I'm not sure. This is the point, like in my head, like man, my blood sugar was on point. Maybe it could have been different.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't exciting as like what you were telling me, what your story was like. Oh, you got the takedown. You never do takedowns. Everyone's going hog wild or corn wild, as maybe they would have said in Nebraska. And then you went for the waist opposed to the ankle, and you got the reversal. But I was not. I was kind of. I wasn't fast, but I wasn't super strong. But I like to slow people down and wrestle like a heavyweight, even though I wasn't. I was wrestling. Senior year, I wrestled 152. And I remember trying to do other shots I'd never have done before. And this guy just was stalling on me like crazy. And I think I was taking so many shots. I think I can't remember how they got to the score, but it was like 2-1. And it was like 30 seconds left, third period, 2-1. I literally just need anything. And he's like dead tired. He's not caring. He's just defending and just went like slapping his way to victory. And I'm like freaking pissed because I know this is my last match ever. And I am shooting, I'm trying so many things, and I end up not getting it, I think. And I lost 2-1. And I remember that being such a heartbreak because before I think I lost like, I don't know, like 4-1, and then like something like he blew me out of the water like 7-2 or 10-2 or something like that. Like he got closer every time I wrestled him. But to lose 2-1, get fourth in regionals, not make it to sectionals or state, and I remember that being but I had so many parts of my character not developed yet at that point. I had a lot of seeds, but a lot of my ability to will things into existence didn't come till I got to college.
Yeah.
And so, but I remember then that loss, you shake hands, you shake the coach's hand. And I just remember like going and sitting down in between these bleachers. I mean, regional is still going on, and just feel like and just bawling my eyes out as the last match I ever wrestled. And I lost to my rival. And man, that was a hard moment for sure. And
Yeah,
so
like that last, when it's done and it's done, it's so hard. Like my whole family was there, like extended family, and everybody was there watching. And it's like, man, they came all this way for me to not even place. And then like, so I couldn't even go up and face them like afterwards. And I just like stayed down because like it was in the arena. So like I just stayed down below. And I'm like I didn't cry when it was over, but like I knew once I like saw my dad's face, I was just gonna lose it. Cause like for the most part, like I always wanted to wrestle to make them proud because they were always there every match. And so like going up and facing them, I'm like, and man, this is tough.
Yeah. So you made it to, was that your only time you made it to state, or did you make a state time before that too?
No, so that was my senior year. but I did make it to state my junior year as well.
Gotcha.
Yeah, my junior year, making it to state. So at districts, we just have districts. We don't have sectionals and then
Mhm.
districts or whatever. And so it's a 16-man bracket, and you have to place fourth. And so in that one, so in the district tournament, I'm in the heartbreak round, and I'm wrestling our rival school. And so I mean, it's just everybody, like, because both of our schools are like, not only are we rivals, but we're also real big into wrestling, both of our schools. And so there's a lot of fans from our school, and there's a lot of fans from the other school. And so it's real intense. And of course, there's a lot of these matches happening because a lot of both of our teams are pretty good, and so a lot of us match up. And so anyways, we get to going, and we get into overtime. And again, like I said, I was a defensive wrestler, so I don't think I hardly shot at all in the overtime round. So then we go into the ride outs, and we ride both of us either get away or ride out. No, I think we both got away. And so then
Yeah, because you take
um
turns, right?
yeah, you take turns. And so
That's a
one
cool.
person's on bottom, one person's on top, and um you both get a turn, but if you get out, um then you
Right.
get a point, then the other person gets a chance, um and vice versa. So if
Right.
you don't get out, and you only get 30 seconds,
Yeah, that's right.
and so we both got out, but he barely got out at the end. And so then we go to like the sudden death, like the final ride out.
Yeah, the
So
toss a
it's 30
coin.
seconds. If he doesn't get away, you win. If he gets away, he wins.
Right.
And so I had choice because I had scored first. And so I chose top because I'm like, he barely got away. I think I can hold him. And
Oh man,
my
that was always such a hard decision.
yeah,
I'm gonna just, I've lost in triple overtime. I don't know how many times by making the wrong call.
yeah.
But go on.
Yeah, like because I was always better on the mat. That's why I was a defensive wrestler on my feet, because I was much better on mat, whether it was bottom or top. But I would say I was even better on top than I was on bottom. And so I'm like, let's just do my thing, and let's just go with the top. And so like it is like the most intense 30 seconds that I've ever been a part of, because like he got to his feet so many times, and like my fingers are just
Yeah.
like almost separated, and then I'd lift him and return him, or take
Nice.
him down. And I remember like the final seconds, like literally my fingers are like
Yep.
about ready to break, and then the whistle blows, and I ended up winning the match and moving on. But it was,
Yeah.
yep, it was super intense. Everybody was so excited. I feel sorry for my parents in that moment, because that's got to be really stressful. It's like the most stressful thing when you have no control over the situation, and so you
Mhm.
just have to like cheer and scream your head
Yeah.
off. But yeah, it was a pretty cool moment.
Nice. Nice. Oh, yeah. I wasn't overall. I was not that good a wrestler. I was. I think my senior year, I barely broke 500 on my
Mm,
record. So, uh, looking back at the will that I have now, and to train, it'd be interesting to see what I could do with the type of mindset I have now, if back then. But that's all part of the journey, right?
mm-hmm.
I don't regret those things. But this is something that you and I have never done. The Diet Buddies have never had a wrestling match,
I know. Next
and
time you
it's
come back, we might have to find a mat.
yeah,
Film it.
is what film it. I don't want to embarrass you
Oh, okay.
in front of people there. Am I heavier than you right now?
I don't know how much you weigh.
Like around 185 to 190, 192
Yeah, no,
sometimes.
I'm like, I haven't weighed in a real long time, but I usually sit around 195, 190.
Wow. Well, well,
So we're pretty close.
we are. It'll happen. It'll happen. It'll have to happen.
Yeah.
But